I was supposed to become a psychologist, actually. Definitely a
Right.
discipline is in our hands.
I was blown away.
That's the reality we live in. Lose your identity. Fashion's business. I know there are some horror stories.
That's wonderful. I love it. Welcome to LÉ VAUGHN Conversations, or Conversations with LÉ VAUGHN, I should say. Today, I am joined by a brilliant global fashion director, Miss Ekaterina da Silva. Thank you so much for joining me. And let me start out by just saying, thank you so much for the honor of letting my magazine, LÉ VAUGHN, come on as a media partner for your upcoming New York Fashion Week fashion show. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me and taking time to have this
Absolutely.
podcast together.
Absolutely. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. All right, let's start. Where are you originally from? And how has your cultural background influenced and shaped you and who you are today as a fashion leader?
It's actually quite a long story. Yes. I'm
Okay,
originally
take your
from
time.
I'm originally from Kazakhstan. I'm not a Kazakh by ethnicity, but I was born and raised there. I'm the sixth generation of my family living there, and I'm not living there anymore, but I go back and forth all the time to visit the family. They're still there, and I'm from now we call it a city, but at the time when I was born, it was part of the Soviet Union. It was a Kazakh Soviet Republic. So at the time, it was a town, an industrial town. We have
Right.
6 biggest industrial factories in the country, which are based in that town. So basically, that's where I'm from. So if we have to speak about fashion, there was none of it. There was not very much of it. And,
Right.
it was Kazakhstan in general is a very multicultural community. We have around 120 nationalities living in Kazakhstan, and we all, from day one, we all coexist peacefully, happily. And so that background did shape my understanding and, way of looking at the world in a completely different way to compare to, other countries, I would say, because it was something natural for us. We didn't see, any differences between our neighbors while growing up. So, and that actually did help me a lot when I started traveling around the world. And, the first country that I landed was Dubai, UAE, and, that was multicultural as well.
Right.
And then, traveling around the world. So, in terms of, understanding, I wouldn't call it a tolerance. There is no such word as tolerance in my understanding, of this world. Yeah. But in terms of, understanding different cultures, when you grow up in that mixed cultural environment, it gives you a lot of, open doors.
Right.
Open mind doors
Yes.
in life. When it comes to fashion, I have to say, thanks to my mom, she's quite a dress up. She has always been.
Yeah.
Because in those times, we the first, it was a sort of Soviet Union. Everything was in shortage. And we didn't have many magazines, fashion magazines or anything. One of the first ones that were actually published there was Burda Modern. It used to be called Burda Fashion. That was the first Western magazine. They still exist, actually. It's a German magazine where you can, one of those where you can open it and in the middle there's a pattern sort of.
Yes.
And you cut it out and then you spread it and you sort of copy those patterns. So yeah, that was my fashion experiences, and those magazines were actually forbidden for me. I could not touch those because they were in shortage as well. And my mom used to dig them out from her contacts through somebody. The same went with fabrics. It was really hard to get any fabrics, even to stitch, any models from those magazines. So she would dig those out to her contacts again, and it was, it was like a black market kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You had to know somebody who knows somebody who knows
Right.
somebody. Yeah, and that's sort of how I grew up. My mom used to knit a lot, and very sort of avant-garde pieces. And from the early childhood, I grew up in that sort of environment where things were made at home, and they were sort of fashionable. They were not like everybody else were wearing. And I think at some level that sort of sunk into me at the early age, where when we are even talking right now about recycling and upcycling. We've been upcycling back then, because we had no other choice. We have to redo clothing. We have to remodel it. So yes, and that's how sort of the background had shaped me in terms of understanding the values of the items that you have, and the work that goes behind it as well. Discipline, definitely a discipline, and just being acceptable about the people around you, and understanding that everybody's got their own background, everybody's got their own culture, everybody just appreciating whatever is around, because that's our differences that's what makes us unique. Again, coming back to the name of our event.
Incredible. So you started out in Dubai, huh? Like that's very impressive.
Yes. Well, that was an accident, actually. After graduating from my high school, I went to study in Russia, and I was supposed to become a psychologist, actually. Yes, I did graduate. Yes, and then a friend of mine, she used to live in Moscow, and her partner was from. He had a job offer in Dubai, so they moved. And one of the days, I just went there when Dubai wasn't such a blooming place yet. It was, half of the city wasn't built at the time. Wow. And I just went there, and I decided to stay. and then that's what happens, like as we go further to the discussion, you will realize that this is what happens to me throughout my life. I just go somewhere, I like the place, and I stay, So, okay, so this seems a little, too comfortable. Let's stay.
Right.
Yes, and I was working. First, I got a job as a business administrator at the office, and then I got promoted to business manager. Basically, I was traveling around the world setting up companies for Wholesale Mobile Trading Company. And I traveled all over Europe and other countries, and it was exciting. It was exciting, but then it was a little bit too corporate for me. A little bit too structured. And I thought, well, why don't I just do a switch? And I quit a job out of the blue, and I had a very good salary, but measuring by that time, and I just quit. And when I started looking, there were newspapers at the time when they were advertising jobs and stuff. So there was no such thing as go online and do HR hunting. And the first ad that I saw was they were looking for events manager, and I thought, oh, that was cool, and I applied. And I was actually surprised that they invited me for the interview. I came for the interview, and they were opening a fashion events department within their events management company. And I had no background about events management at all. I knew management, and I knew how to dress, because just a couple of years before that, I did take a course just out of general curiosity for myself about personal styling and an image consultancy. I'm certified image consultant as well, and yes, and that was it. That's how I got into the whole fashion scene out of the blue completely. They told we will take you. I was very surprised, happy at the same time. and that's how it all began. And it all just, started rolling, and it never looked back, actually.
Right. Wow. And how many years ago was that, going back? Like,
oh, wow.
20.
That was around 2000, 2006, 2007, because the first measure event we had was 2007. So yeah, that's almost 20 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
I know. When I look back at it, I'm like, wow. It's been so long, and
right.
Seems like it happened yesterday.
Well, that was my next question. Pretty much, I was going to ask you, how did you first get into the fashion industry? But let me just go back on that. Do you have a defining moment, though, that you knew that was like, that you didn't want to leave, like this was your path, that you really wanted to stay with fashion?
Well, the first thing that actually happened to me, I can recall this moment very clearly. That was the first event we did. Actually, the date of the event was on the date of my 21st birthday.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, yeah. But we had the full fashion show, 3 days fashion show going on my birthday. So it just so happened to be one of the days, and it was actually the finale, and the event was over, and I was sitting in the backstage looking at the wrap up and everything, and I actually felt sad.
Oh.
And I felt sad, and I was like, oh, this is over. You worked so long,
right.
And that was the first event, and that was sort of a first heartfelt moment. But I didn't realize that at the time, that it could actually mean so much to me further on.
Right.
And as I progressed in my career, and we had more events, and we had designers from different backgrounds, and I have also been invited to give guest lectures at a Sky University in Sharjah in UAE, and I was on judging panels of designers, graduate fashion shows, and so on. And it's sort of with the time passed by, I realized that fashion was not just about clothing, presentation. Sometimes we can call it therapeutic. Fashion can be as a therapy.
Right.
Fashion can be as a voice.
Yes.
Fashion can be as a narrative. I always say that fashion is a narrative, and it's always a reflection of the events that happen around the world, that happen in our life. Because every single collection that is produced by the designer, it is inspired by something. It's whether the literature, the art, the globalization, the situation around the world, the news, anything.
Right.
And we could actually, navigate through fashion. We could actually make a fashion our roadmap to do better, to unite people, to send a message, because it's a voice. It gives you it gives you a soft power.
It does. It's very true. Very true. It says a lot about a person. Fashion, believe it or not, is one of the first things people notice when they see you. It's true.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we keep saying that it's not the right thing to judge a person by a clothing or book by a cover, but it is true. Well, whatever we try, whichever way we try to avoid it, but it still remains the same. I'm glad that this sort of first impression standards are sort of taking a step back now, and the new generations are pursuing the first meeting differently, but still it's gonna take a long time for it to develop into something else. But the way we dress, the way we express ourselves, even psychologically, color and and color is fashion too. It's very how do I say it? It's very influencing on us.
Yes, I think it's just like different.
Well, whenever you go to a different country, you would see a completely different
Right.
fashion style patterns.
Right. Right.
Because fashion is, as we said, it's an expression of self,
Mm-hmm.
expression of surrounding. If you go to Dubai, it's all super luxury rate. It's all bling, and
Right.
I never used to have a flat pair of shoes when I was living in Dubai. So,
Right.
yes, I even when going to the beach, I had my flip flop with a kitten heel.
Yeah.
So and then
Right.
I moved to Georgia, and it's a
Right.
completely different fashion scene. The way Georgia has always been one of the creative countries, and they
Right.
produce really great designers, very talented people in general. Their culture, the folk, they dance, they sing, they're extremely creative artists. There are a lot of modern artists. They're
And I remember you telling me
conceptual.
everything in
Yes,
black looks so good. You remember you telling me they
the,
look
the way the way the way they wear black, I you have to give it to Georgian people. It's
Right.
just, I have never seen it, and I've traveled the world. I've never seen anything like it in any other country. It's like, well, I hope you will be with us in October in Georgia, and you will see it
Yes.
for yourself. You will be
Yes.
fascinated. We will have actually Georgian designers on our New York event, and
Okay.
a lot of black will be there, because quite a few artists will be there too, Georgian artists.
Okay.
So you will see it for yourself, just a
Right.
small preview, like a teaser.
I'm looking forward to that.
So when we were talking about, like, for example, about I lived in Turkey for 5 years too, so that is a completely different scene, like,
Right.
from modest fashion to cities like, for example, Izmir, very open, very outgoing, extremely. Then you have obviously you have those cities which are more touristy, that you have all this mix of fashion and style, and so on. Then if we look at, for example, London, it's a completely
Yeah.
different style. London Fashion Week probably found and opened the world for such exquisite avant-garde designers, and London is
Right.
always about finding new talents. That's
Right.
I personally think that's the one of the main fashion weeks for discovery of new talents,
Okay.
because a lot
I
of
love that.
creativity goes there, compared to the
Mhm.
other fashion weeks. I'm not saying that other fashion weeks are not creative. I'm just saying
Right.
that, to me personally,
Mm-hmm.
that part of the world, with the fashion week, that fashion capital, for me is the hub of creativity, and new names in the industry.
Right.
Then right now I live in Portugal, and I
Mm-hmm.
live in the south, so it's all about summery. It's all very laid
Yes.
back. It's all it's a very colorful wardrobe. I had to buy a whole new wardrobe, just to come here, because I was coming from Georgia, and
Right.
it's a lot toned down there.
Right.
So, so when we're looking at Portugal, it's very colorful. It's very, they have their own carnival here. It's coming up, and
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, it's coming up soon. It's similar to the one they have in Rio,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's very, they're very laid back and live, but they're very sort of
Right.
passionate about celebrations and everything, and it's fascinating. Every
Right.
time you go somewhere, and as I mentioned to you earlier, I have 4 different wardrobes to travel. If I go to Kazakhstan, for example, that's a completely different ball game altogether,
Right.
because they have their
Right.
own style there.
Right.
So it's fascinating to see how like, if I would show up to Georgia with a wardrobe that I have in Portugal, I would be just out of space, and and
It would
this
look
and
too strange, right?
vice versa. Yes, well, I'm wearing black today.
Right. Right.
It's a bit chilly in here, but in general, it's it changes. It changes you, the perspective of the country, the people around you. They sort of
Right.
sink into you, and I do have that sort of adaptive attitude to the place where I come to. So it's and that's the part of the background that I'm from. You know, the adaptability. Yes.
Right. As a global brand and fashion director, what does your role truly involve behind the scenes that people may not realize?
Wow. Well, when we are speaking about not the industry people, not people who work in the industry, but when we're speaking about, you know, general public, and they look at the fashion, it's just a pretty picture, sometimes with the weird things walking down the ramp that you always can't wear because it's avant-garde. Yeah. You know, even like among my friends and family, they're like, "Oh, how can you wear that?" I'm like, "Well, that's just the creativity. You're not supposed to wear that. You're just supposed to, you know, admire it as a piece of art."
Right.
Yeah. So when you look from a general public perspective, a lot of the things are, you know, it's what you see on the ramp is just a little teeny tiny tip of the iceberg compared to the amount of work that goes behind the scenes.
Oh, I know. Oh,
yeah,
my
so
goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's, you know, I can never take a credit for doing, you know, things on my own. We have a team that you know, we usually discuss every single event team with, and every single public talk that we're gonna have there, the designers that are gonna be there. That obviously, you know, one part of the job. When it comes to me, I take a lot of responsibilities for bringing on partners on board, especially institutional ones. I do a lot of, you know, conference calls, a lot of negotiations, a lot of a lot of researches, and obviously we have to we can't just we have the image and reputation to carry within our events. So we have to also look into high standards. It has to go to accordingly with our standards, and not even standards, but the vision and the mission that we're trying to bring to achieve, to show to the world. So it has to be covered as well. And as you know, I mentioned already that our team is quite diverse. We have ladies who don't have men in our team for some reason. They just maybe we're a little bit of repellers. You know? But yes, for some reason we have a ladies team, women working with us. Yes, and you know, we have a team from different backgrounds. Me, you know, from all the mixes in my family, all the background, the multinational, multicultural, where I come from. Our CEO and the founder, she's half Afghan. She actually used to live in Afghanistan until the age of 5. Wow. Yes, and then yes. So and yes, and when it was, you know, when it was not like it is today. Let's just put it this way: be politically correct.
Right.
And so we our international relationships manager, Olga, she's Greek. She used to live in Russia in her childhood, and then they relocated. And now she lives.
She's very, very pleasant. I really like her a lot. Yes.
She's lovely. Yes. Yeah. And she's very diplomatic.
Oh yeah.
She's probably the most diplomatic of us all. That's why she's head of international relationships. And you know, we have Guanza, which is the designer, head of designers. She manages the designers, and she does the selection. She does all the communications and everything. Well, we have a team that works together with designers as well. So she's Georgian, and she's from Georgia. She was born in Georgia. She lives in Georgia, and she's, you know, extremely talented and extremely beautiful.
Oh wow!
Yes. So we have our girl Russo that takes care of our social media, and she travels around. She's from Georgia as well, but she travels around the world. She just recently came back from Korea, and so we sort of collect all of our knowledge, all of our backgrounds, and sit on the table and discuss every single project, and every single person in the project has its own mission to accomplish, and that's how we operate, and make just making sure that we are balancing in the right way.
Right. I mean, as I was telling you before, when I looked at some of your old fashion shows, like the promo videos that I was able to look at, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. Like Versace and Chanel and Philip Klein. I'm like, wow, amazing. Those are some of the shows I looked at on TV. I had no idea that your foundation was behind that.
This is one of our partners, production team. We're partnering with them as well. So we are producing this kind of shows for those brands as well. On the last event, we actually did have a designer that is designing for campaigns of Lady Gaga and Jared Leto as well, named Silva. Yes, they're upcycling brand, a brilliant one. They're from Germany, from Berlin originally, and they take upcycling materials like even parts of the cars. They are all going to their avant-garde design. This is that's brilliant when you go to their studios. Just wow!
Yes. Oh my God! Wow! I want to see that.
I will send you the link.
Okay. Yes.
And they were actually one of the first ones to ever participate with us in a digital format. So their runway were only in a digital format in our metaverse. Yes.
Right.
So we combined the avant-garde of a physical designer and an upcycling designer, which is important, into the digital world, projected into the digital world. And the whole event was actually for them held there. The whole runway was there.
Oh,
it was brilliant. Yes. So we are trying to, push the limits, cross the borders, push it a little bit further, and do something different.
Where do you personally draw your creative inspiration from? Like culture, travel, people, art, or life experiences? I mean, you kind of told me because you travel and lived like a lot of places. But what would you say you get the most inspiration from?
I think inspiration is more from life itself. From people's stories, that the people's stories that touch you, because everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a something in this world that would sort of touch you, fascinate you, and make you think. Cultures is since I've been traveling for as long as I can remember myself. It's different cultures always bring you different experiences. Like for example, when I arrived to Portugal last May, I didn't even realize that I would be so fascinated with sustainability. I mean, it was naturally, it was natural for our event in our foundation to move towards the sustainability because we are already, one foot there. But when I arrived, and Portugal is one of the countries on the top of as a sustainable hub in Europe, and they have a lot of sustainable fabrics production factories, and a lot of regenerative energy when it comes to just general sustainability, not in the fashion sense. And they have this fascinating cork leather that I was introduced
Oh,
to, and
wow.
yes, a lot of substitute materials, and I was like, wow, this is like a different thing.
Right.
So, and that's what actually made me go for another level of education in fashion and sustainability management, which I will be
Wow.
completing end of this month, hopefully. Actually,
Oh,
actually next week I have a graduation. Yes.
wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, just things like that, not a happy, sort of bubbly stories but the experience of people in life
Right.
that brings you to the point where you stand sort of or sit and think for a minute, what else could be done? What else
Mm-hmm.
could be accomplished? What other boundaries can we push? What
Right.
other message can we deliver? So
Right.
this kind of things that are sort of fascinating and
Right.
inspiring, and
Right.
I think that's a bit of my education in psychology also kicks in there. where, where you know where you where
Right.
you where you think about people, and you think about how can you do better, how can you make this world a little bit better place,
Right.
just one step at a time, with one move, with one thought, with one sentence, with one event. how can
Right.
we how can we slowly, gradually get to the point where we could be better in
Right.
whichever way possible we can.
You have an international presence and perspective. How do you balance global fashion trends while staying authentic to your own vision?
Well, trends is a good thing. Trends is always a good thing. They're inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
The latest shift of trends in the fashion industry in general is also a positive shift, because if before we used to get trends from the runway, now the runway gets trends from the street. So you
Mm-hmm.
see, that's a
Mm-hmm.
shift. That's a shift in opinion. That's a shift in the position in fashion in general,
Right.
which is more people oriented at the
Yeah.
moment. But we can't follow trends blindly, because if you follow trends blindly, you just lose your identity.
Right.
You lose your identity. You lose your authenticity, and
Mm-hmm.
trends is a good thing to observe, but
Right.
to stay true to yourself. Some people jump on a trend, let's say, oh, metaverse, or let's say
Right.
AI. The trend
Right.
passes and it goes. But
Right.
if you have a clear message that you would like to deliver, then you see the trend. You say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so maybe it's a good thing to do. But then if your action ends where the trend ends, then what is the point? We don't see a point of that. So
Right.
there is a trend. There is the trend for a reason. If we're talking about a globalized fashion scene, and there is a the trend started with the sustainability. It's not a trend anymore. It's no longer a trend. We're living
Right.
in this is now. This is our life now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the voices go louder, sometimes the voices go quieter, but that's the reality. So if this is a trend that we can carry and make the world better and make it a
Mm-hmm.
mission, it's a good thing. But just like if it's just a fashion trend, we should actually slow down on trends, to be very honest,
Right.
to the fashion. Yes, we should look into that. And it's becoming a little bit overwhelming already. And but it's an industry.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, companies still look into profits instead of looking into sustainability topics,
Right.
and
Right.
slowing down the production and fashion. So that's the reality we live in. That's what it is. That's my answer for the trends.
The next question I have for you is a good one. This is
Okay.
a good one. Because I'm sure you're going to have something to say about this one. What challenges have you faced as being a woman and a leader in the fashion industry? And have those experiences shaped you, your leadership role style? Has it shaped your leadership styles?
I think some, your viewers or listeners will actually hate me for this one. If I have to think about it globally, I've been very fortunate. I think I have been blessed
good.
that way. I can't recall honestly any challenges that I faced for being a female or being a woman in the industry. I did face some challenges, I still do, well, not as lack of experience, but at the beginning it was lack of experience, or I was young when I got into the industry where all the big wolves are already playing. And, but so the same challenges were facing my male colleagues. So I can say that was related to me being a woman. And my career started in Dubai. The Dubai industry at the time wasn't, it was just, it was just an embryo.
Okay.
At the time, there was no fashion console. There was no all this, design districts or anything. That all came later. So we were all building sort of the industry, starting with the industry, growing with it together. And Dubai and UAE in general, actually, from day one when I arrived, even in the corporate sector, in general, government invests a lot in the women education and the women leadership, and it's a very good place for for women to be. It's a very healthy environment for me. That's how I felt, and the women who are around me, that we felt the same way. And from there on, I think it's. Maybe going back to my background as well, being born in one country and then the whole country broke down, and it became a completely independent new country where everybody was facing challenges, whether you're male or female, where young or old, we were all facing challenges and at the time. And the way I look at it, it's an opportunity. If there is some kind of a criticism, for example, at my work or anything, I'm happy to accept it from a person that whose opinions matter to me. If they're more experienced, if they have, even if I ask for it.
Right.
Yes. Or if we have, we always, for example, we'll do post-event surveys and everything just to make sure that, what are flows and so on. But those are mainly focused on the work that we do. And I don't think, from my personal experience, I don't think I have ever felt discrimination as a woman in the industry. I know there are some horror stories, and that's true. The fashion industry isn't the butterflies. like any other industry. It's an industry. It's no theatrical play, and it's not a fairy tale movie. Things happen. And some bad things happen. We've heard the stories, of accusations of designers, misuse of power, and so on. So I never take for granted the experiences that I personally had, and to say I had it easy, no, I didn't. But was it directed at me as a woman? I don't think it was. Well, maybe I'm a little bit delusional. I don't want to see that. That could also be an option.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you haven't had any real challenges, from being a woman globally, like a director. That's wonderful.
Well, I always have a backup with the team. We will always support each other. When we say woman power, people think we're hardcore feminists. We are not, actually. We just support each other.
What advice would you give to emerging designers or creators who want to build a global career in fashion?
Well, Just like, when you asked me a question about my roles and responsibilities, and
Yes.
a lot of people, again, I'm coming back to the same thing. A lot of people, even, students, when they come to the university, uh, they see a pretty picture. They see a pretty picture. They don't see the hours of work that has to be put, in design. The education that has to be put into that as well. They only see the tip of the iceberg.
Right. It's a lot of hard work.
Yes, they don't see a lot of hard work. And when they come, a lot of the students that actually graduate from universities as a fashion designers, they don't work as fashion designers.
Right.
A lot of them actually, they start working and then they quit, and then they go to a lot of different directions in fashion design, or an artistic direction, or any other fashion within the industry. Because first of all, fashion is business.
Yes. Right.
This is the simplest way. It's an industry, it's a business. Like any other business, it has to run. And when you come into the industry and on your job role, and you think it's all butterflies, and it's always spring, and rainbows and unicorns, it's not.
Right.
You might get those, as a costume designer on the runway, but when you're in the backstage, there is no unicorns there.
Right.
It's not so shiny.
Right.
It's a lot it's a selfish industry. I always say that it's a very selfish industry. Selfish in terms of a time management, selfish in terms of it's a 24-hour work, and because the collection cycles, even the media, the everything that you pile up it together, and it's a lot of discipline, it's a lot of responsibilities. So if you're coming to the industry, I would actually suggest you want to be a fashion designer, or fashion media, or fashion business, or anything. Try different things. Let's put it this way: you graduate from one thing, but try different departments. See where you fit, because not necessarily what you study is something that you're going to do for your life. We are in such a fast-paced world right now. People are changing careers constantly. I'm an old bat, but anyway, the younger generations do. I'm stuck. I have nowhere else to go, but younger generations do. So try let's say work for 2 years as a fashion designer, see if you like it. Work as an event organizer, see if you like it. Work in media, or do internship while you're in your university. Make mistakes. Because if you don't make mistakes, you never learn. You will learn from them. We all like to say, learn from other people's mistakes, but that doesn't happen really. So we can take the guidance and try to avoid it, but be bold. Make good connections, because your network, the people that you connect with, is very important.
It is.
Try to build long-term connections that will be, with you throughout your fashion journey, because this is extremely important. Be it the media, be it even the assistant of a stylist. Those connections will always take you a long way, because people evolve, industry evolve. You will always be sort of in the loop once you have established those connections. Don't try to be global straight away. Just establish your own small community, your own small sort of fan base. Let's put it this way. I had a friend who would always say, it's better to be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. So
it's very true.
Yes. Establish your community within your city, within your country, and then try to understand why you want to go global. What is your purpose? Because going global or even going regional,
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes very pressuring.
Yeah.
It puts a lot of mental pressure. We do have a lot of, cases even in the fashion industry, and it has been brought up to light recently quite a lot, where, the mental health of professionals working in fashion industry is, sort of on a decline. Let's put it this way. Yes, because it's a high pressure industry.
Pressure. Yes. Right.
Yeah, so you have to be prepared mentally,
Right.
not just physically with your collection, with your creativity, with your work experience, but you have to be prepared mentally for that.
Right.
And as we know, when with fame comes the hate. So
Oh my God.
so that's
Yes.
and now
Yes.
with
Yes.
this social media and everything,
Yes.
how strong are you to handle that?
Yes.
Some people aren't.
That's
And
true.
so you have to be prepared. Don't rush into it. So once you establish your connections, your surrounding, your support group, you're mentally ready for that, as well as physically, then go for it.
Right.
Start going global, start exploring, start experiencing, and
Right.
that would be my advice to any fashion professional, not just a designer.
Right. Right. Makes sense. Yes. Circle back to the Cycle X with you for a moment. Through initiatives like Cycle X, how do you see sustainability reshaping the future of fashion, and the responsibility to designers and brands, and having them move forward with that? How do you see that happening?
Well, let me put it this way. A Cycle X, it was just a nice natural step for our event
Mm-hmm.
to bring that on, simply because we already had a contest with the AI and 3D designers, which is
Mm-hmm.
part of sustainable ecosystem. We already had the women empowerment initiatives, the Woman in Search of Freedom, that actually started with digital scarf designer Chandrali. And yes, she had this. She's got this concept of empowering women through the design and searching for inner answers. And we sort of she was presenting as part of the metaverse. She's yes, she is a curator of the contest. So and we just took that part and put it on the physical surface.
Right.
So we have it as a from digital to physical experiences. So it sort of complements each other. Where we in our past event in Paris, we had an exhibition of woman factory from Afghanistan. It's a hidden factory in Afghanistan. Where women artisans are taught how to make jewelry, traditional jewelry, but obviously because of the situation in Afghanistan, they're not allowed to work there, so they can sustain themselves through these crafts. So we actually had one of our partners that we collaborate with on different causes, different women initiatives. We actually had them they brought the jewelry from the factory to Paris.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And we had an exhibition there in our showroom. We had a sale, and the proceeds from that went back to the jewelry factory for those women to sustain themselves. So we also had two Afghan designers that were, they were based in Europe, because if they were in Afghanistan, obviously they wouldn't be able to do that. So we continue those initiatives, and that is, part of the community work that we do, which is part of our sort of sustainable process, which we already sort of dipped into it. And the next logical step for us was to actually have physical designers that could be represented in our events, simply because we think that sustainability somehow someone, we started talking about it, and initially it was a trend, but now we come to the realization it's not a trend, it's not a future, it is now.
Right.
We are at the stage where we have to take steps, but the way we see sustainability is being communicated to the world is very technical. Unless you're really going into this, and there are so many aspects of this, there are so many abbreviations, and when when you speak this technical language to people they don't want to go into it, because it's a long discussions, and you just lose the attention, and people think that organizations are getting hype on the sustainability, and that's what I came to lately. There some regulations are changing, like for example in Europe and so on, for production and the production cycle and the standards, but in general, when it comes to general public, how many people are actually aware of it, and how many people can go in depth into that conversation. So our aim here is to show that sustainability is not a trend. Sustainability is here to stay. Sustainability is something that is in our hands, and sustainability doesn't have to be technical. It doesn't have to be boring, because when it comes to an end consumer, and when you see a sustainable piece on a shelf, consumer wants to see it as fun. Consumer wants to see it, as bold as any other item which is not sustainable. So why not do that? Sustainability actually brings more creativity, because you're experimenting with completely new fabrics. There are so many of them has been released recently, and they're still developing those. So it's a different way of designing, because sustainable fabrics sometimes they don't behave the same as the traditional fabrics. So it's a different way of making patterns and everything. So it's a huge creative process, not just that. Not the one that just make our planet better, and not just the planet, but the community is better. But it also encourages the creativity. The creativity, and it could be just as bold, it could be just as fun, and it doesn't have to be like a little corner in a consignment store, or on a major retail store, on a retail store, just a little corner with a tag sustainable, where the rest of the collection isn't. But it could be it could be viral, actually. So, and if we look at at fashion weeks, how many of them are actually representing the fashion designers from sustainable brands? How many top sustainable brands can we name? That's true. Maybe people who work in the fashion industry, who are within the industry or entertainment industry, they would be able to name quite a few. But as a general consumer, how many can you name? At the fingertips. So so why not? Our mission is to send a message that our communication is different. Sustainable fashion isn't boring. Sustainable fashion is just as bold, as creative, as fun as any other traditional fashion.
Looking ahead, like what's next for you? Like I know you're very busy. You have so many projects all over the world. What's next for you though? Like in your organization, like how do you see the future of fashion evolving?
Well, the future of fashion is, as I said earlier, fashion is a narrative. Is a narrative of everything is going on around us. We have seen fashion change so many times with different world circumstances. I think the lockdown showed us all that we can all sort of go down from high heels to pajamas, fashion, just like it's a language. It's a language that translates the events of the world to the general public. We all seen, the default times when the colors of the fashion collections went down, they were all sort of, muted or more dark. And then when the financial crisis passed, with the colors went back, the color blocking trends came back, and
Right.
everything of that. So the fashion will always be a reflection of surroundings, just like literature, just like music, just like art, just like any other creative fields. So we are trying to see the positive
Right.
outcome of fashion, to our planet, to the communities.
Right.
We are trying through our events and our foundation to unite them, to make a world, as I said, it's just a slightly better place, one day at a time.
Right.
And the future of fashion is now.
Yes.
It's now,
Yes. So I know we have New York coming up here in about a week and a half or so. Any other fashion weeks that you have planned this year for 2026?
We do have New York on the 31st, and we're after that we're going to Paris. Paris will be held after the Cannes Film Festival on the 23rd of May.
Okay.
The Paris is
there.
Yes. Paris is basically our concept is it's like in a movie we will always have Paris.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So we will always have Paris. Yes.
That's right.
Paris is our base. Paris is where our foundation is formed. And one of our annual events will always be Paris. The other events are basically traveling events that will be held around the world. This year is in New York, which is, as I mentioned, 31st. Then we have Paris on the 23rd of May, and then we have Tbilisi in Georgia on the 10th of October. Yes, we couldn't resist Tbilisi because that's where it all began.
Right.
That's where we all met. That's where our team met. That's where the whole idea, the creativity, the passion, and the compassion and the fashion came together.
Right.
So Tbilisi is a hometown.
Right.
If I have to put it this way. Yes, we're already planning for the 2027 as well. So the plans for 27 is Paris, most probably New York again. We already speaking to the venues in Madrid.
Okay.
So we are providing platforms internationally for our partners, for designers, and we carry them with us throughout the world. We find this concept a lot. How do I say? A lot benefiting for people that we work with.
Yes.
For us, because what happens is that we don't just showcase fashion. We make meaningful connections.
Right.
Sometimes maybe people who are in Georgia, they will not be able to reach to people that are in the States, in New York.
Exactly.
They would not be able to connect because sometimes the brands are too small. That they don't have the capacity. So we're like a little bit of a catalyst,
Right.
And we believe in the concept of that was actually our motto from day one. We don't believe in I forgot the word. Sorry. We don't believe in.
You want to help everyone. That's pretty much what you're saying, right? Like the brands, even the small brands, you want to help everyone, right? That's
yes.
What you're saying,
so
right?
Basically, we don't believe in. When I come to that, we don't believe. I keep forgetting the word. We don't believe in competition.
Okay.
We believe in collaboration.
Right.
So we collaborate with a lot of fashion events. Like for example, for New York, we have African Fashion Foundation. We have Luxembourg Fashion Week. We have a Greek Athens Fashion Week. We also have Sustainable Fashion Week, which is US based, and they're partners with that for Cyclops as well. So, and a lot of this, we have Runway TO, which is a Canada-based fashion event, and they are a non-for-profit organization as well. They have their own media. So we connect those people with with our network and connect our network to, with those people, with our partners. And that's what I call collecting the right dots. As a child, you would have this little book where you have numbering on the dots, and when you connect them, it becomes a picture.
Right.
So the way I see is all about connecting the right dots. It's all connecting the right numbers to see a picture, and all those little dots and all those little numbers. They are the partners, they are our, network, they are our designers, they are our models, they are our media that we collaborate with. And together we are coming as, as one picture and creating something meaningful that, from different communities, different backgrounds.
Anything else that you'd like to share with the viewers before we close out?
Well, I think what is important in this fast-paced world right now, and as we're becoming one global community, because we are, with the internet and, the possibilities to travel, to just, get on the train, get on the airplane, get on the boat at the end of the day, and travel around the world. And I think the important thing, whether you work in fashion industry or you work in any other industry, is to try to make your community better in anything that you do.
Right.
Even if you're, let's say, even if you bake cakes at home, just make it better.
Make it better.
And with that little one step at a time, world will change, will become a better place, will become a more comfortable place to live. Think about your neighbor.
Right.
How many people live right now don't know who their neighbors are?
That's true.
A lot.
That's very true.
Think about your neighbor. Say hello, smile.
That's very true.
Yeah. It works in fashion industry as well. One thing at a time. Do good. Think about if you're a fashion manager or you're in a position. Think about the next designer that's going to be on the runway. Think about their next collection. How can they do better?
Right.
If you're an educator, think how your students could do better. It's not just go by the book.
Right.
Take a little extra step for your community.
That's wonderful. I love it. Well, you don't know how happy I am that I got to connect with you today and interview you. It's such an honor to have you on. And I look forward to seeing you this year in 2026.
Yes.
in France. I will be there. I don't know if it'll be in May or October, but I will definitely see you this year.
Yes. Well, I'm so looking forward to keeping my fingers crossed.
Yes, definitely.
It would be lovely to meet you in person.
I love you too. Once again, like I said, thank you so much for letting me and LÉ VAUGHN, my magazine, come on as media for you. Anything I could do for you guys, I'm always here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much too. You've been a great host of the podcast. Great, when it comes to the phone, I can talk for hours.
Me too.
As soon as I see a camera on me, I'm like, okay. Now we're taking a step back, and that's same thing when I. We always do these photo shoots and everything. And when it comes to me, and I'm like, oh, so I have to dig some photos, and I for the 20 years old photo shoot of me.
Yes, I'm ready. Because I'm definitely gonna give you a cover feature whenever you're ready. I'm ready to do it. We're ready to do
it. Thank you.
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much for a lovely conversation and for having me here. And it was great speaking to you, and I'm really glad that we connected and that my team actually sent me.
Yes, I know. I have to thank Olga again for this as well.
Yes.
But yes,
you'll be thrilled.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you later on in the year.
Great. Lovely speaking to you, and we'll see you later on in the year.